What's up, my friends? I'm Henrik. I like food. Today, we're making a turkey pork meatball nugget thing. A few weeks ago, I made some spicy nuggets and I made a whole ton of them. I still have a whole bunch of them left.
All right, let's get into it. For the basis of this dish, we have to do a whole bunch of prep work, starting with some meatballs. So that means we got to chop up some onions, some carrots, and some celery. I am not the fastest guy at chopping vegetables, so let me speed this up for you. Of course, for all you fine people who cannot be bothered to chop onions for longer than I'm willing to admit, you can basically just use a marinara sauce, but this is going to taste way better than that. All right, that's the onions, and you're going to want to end up with a cup of onion that's about that much. Next up, we have an average sized carrot. About 3 people in the world are going to understand that joke, but I'm going to tell it anyway. First step for this is julienne the carrot and then dice it up nice and small. And like the onions, you're going to end up with a cup of carrot. The final part of the meal trifecta is the celery, which I prefer to cut them down the middle first before dicing them up. It's basically just a little shortcut to get them to melt into the sauce quicker and more fully. Okay, so if everything has been estimated correctly, you end up with 3 cups that are roughly the same amount of filled upness between onions, carrots, and celery. And now we move on to the fun part, bacon. This is going to provide all the saltiness that we need for the sauce, as well as being fucking bacon, right? So I'm going to let this sizzle for a while, and if you like bacon, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and smash that like button. Cool. So when the bacon is done, we remove it from the pan, and this leaves us with some crispy bacon as well as a pan full of bacon fat, which we're going to need for the next step. Doesn't that just look so good? Before this gloriousness goes into the pot, however, it needs to be chopped up a little bit just so that you can discover these flakes of bacon, fork it onto a meatball thing, and then have the best of both worlds. Anyway, let's go back to the bacon fat. I poured this into a pot. This is the final pot, the final destination where everything is just gonna simmer in an orgy of flavor. As you can see, this time I've opted for the Lazy Man's chopped garlic and got myself some pre-minced garlic. Smash that right into the pot along with the onions. And of course, it's always fun to stir this stuff around just to make sure it's evenly mixed. Next up is adding the celery into this pot. Once again, stirring everything around while enjoying the smell of your kitchen. Next up, we add some parsley, a little bit of oregano, and finally some basil. We are now ready to add some tomato sauce as well as some diced tomato sauce. Why the dice? To make it rustic, because having bits in your food that are irregularly distributed makes everything rustic, right? Oh, and bacon. You don't even need the meatballs at this point because everything looks and smells and probably tastes delicious already. But no, we're not going to leave them out. The gloriousness must continue. So, what we do is we're going to sear the meat nuggets in some olive oil, the one true cooking oil. Flip them over after a couple minutes. Get it nice and brown on both sides. Once they're done, it's time to add them to the pot, which is probably going to overflow soon. On a side note, you might be going, oh, but all the bacon fat is gonna really kill my heart, and it will. But the point is, normally meatballs are made out of beef, which has a lot more fat. So we gotta add some of that back in here. Anyway, before washing the pan that we seared the meat nuggets in, we can still use the drippings and leftover olive oil to sear some mushrooms, which are also going to go into the pot later. Once the mushrooms are done, we can finally transfer it into the pot and once again stir. As you can see, I'm trying to blub away some of the volume so that it doesn't overflow onto the stove and start a fire. You may also be wondering how come I don't use like a ladle or a giant spoon to stir this stuff. And the answer is quite simple. Laziness. If you're still following along after all this time, well, thank you for watching, but you'll notice I forgot the carrots. So here they are. And it is finally time to let things simmer for a while.
It's finally time to eat. Let's check this out. Little meatball thing. Okay. So, okay. Wow. So, I forgot how spicy these things are. Oh. It's got all the heat from the first time I made them. Oh my God. all the bacon and all the spices from the meatballs sort of like gave enough sodium into the tomato sauce. Everything has like a ton of flavor, and because I added so much heat to the spicy nuggets, there wasn't really a need to add any pepper or any salt to the tomato sauce initially. The concept of using bacon fat and garlic, it works, it's awesome, it tastes so good. It's ridiculous. as usual, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you haven't already, smash like, leave a comment, and until next time, I'm gonna keep on eating. So good.